novel molecular data for drug discovery. He's a biotech engineer by training. He spent 15 years in deep tech, and he has scaled Hello Tomorrow globally before leading an innovation studio through acquisition by Capgemini Invent. In 2023, he co-founded Generare, where he and the team are building a proprietary database or data set of untapped molecular chemistry, unlocking compounds shaped by billions of years of evolution. That is quite a complex undertaking, Guillaume.
Totally. Thanks, Andreas, for having me. Um, Few people know this actually, but more than 500 drugs actually originate from microbes, from bacteria, from fungi. It has actually been the most successful source of drugs in history. Like all the drugs that you know, the penicillin, the most anti-cancer drugs, the immunosuppressants. And but we only scratched the surface. We know that only 3% of this diversity has been explored, and pharma shift away from this modality a long time ago now because they didn't have the right tools to explore the 97 remaining percent. And this is what we're building at Generare. We are developing the tools to mine the next 97% of nature's chemistry.
What were the tools that were missing? Like, to those of us that are not super tech bio smart, what are those tools? How can we understand what's missing?
There are two components mainly that we're missing. The first one is genomics. I mean, sequencing is the fastest developing technology on the planet, has been the fastest developing technology on the planet. And today you can sequence thousands of genomes of bacteria and fungi, and you can read the blueprints that actually encode novel chemistry. And that was not possible 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So the pace in the development of this technology is what allows this to happen. And the second aspect is synthetic biology. So the ability to move large pieces of DNA. So when you read the blueprint for a new chemical molecule in a bacteria, then you need to copy paste physically this piece of DNA, like with tools like CRISPR and things like this, and put it in a lab host that will actually produce this new chemical matter, and then you can test it in biological conditions. So it's combining these two very recent technologies that allows us to do what we do now.
But Guillaume, I asked you just before we came on, how is this different from Basecamp research? And I want to both give a nod to Basecamp because I think that too many in Europe don't know about the great people that are building and what is being built. So let's just touch on that, just both to say Basecamp are doing important work in this, but you have a fundamentally different approach to get to new drug discovery.
Completely, and I think Basecamp and other companies like them in the field are really a source of inspiration for us, what they're building. The same vision that we have, that nature actually already contains all the information that we need to understand biology and to develop the future of drug discovery. And I think we're very much aligned on this. Our approach is essentially really physical compared to their more computational approach. We manipulate DNA. We're really good at not reading DNA and building models to decrypt what this DNA actually does, but copy pasting, moving large pieces of DNA, and then producing new chemical matter in a test tube. We believe that like biology, chemistry, there are sciences that happen in a test tube. So you need to go beyond the computer very fast and provide your partners like with actual physical molecules that they can test for their drug development programs.
How does AI fit into your model?
It fits at a lot of places. Obviously, a lot of people are developing really interesting AI tools to better select genes, to predict the activity of a molecule, to predict the structure of a molecule. So we're actually an integrator of a lot of AI tools. Each time someone really smart develops a new tool, we can integrate it in this whole process that we developed. The core technology that we have is really a cloning technology, so it doesn't really per se rely on AI, but it's accelerated by all the improvements that there is in AI today.
I heard someone say the other day, I won't name him because he's not here to defend this statement, but he said everyone's talking about how AI will enable us to discover all these new drugs, but where's one drug that was actually discovered by AI? Can you maybe give a comeback to that? Because it might not be there yet, but we're definitely seeing strides that weren't
It,
possible.
yeah, it will come. It will come, and the future of drug discovery is definitely AI based, but I think something that's quite important today is that to understand, and we see with something like AlphaFold, for example, like this is a really really interesting, really powerful tool, but it
Out of
has
Google, right?
sorry.
Out of Google, right?
No, the AlphaFold model,
Okay.
um, um, it allows to predict like the structure of enzymes, for instance, and to invent new enzymes and proteins. And this has the ability to design some things that are close to to existing chemistry, but not really innovate completely, like invent something completely new. And this is where reading stuff from nature, this is what Basecamp is doing, and this is what we're doing. Nature has been doing this selection, this trial and error for 3 billion years, basically.
Yeah.
Bacteria has been there for 3 billion years testing all the combinations of what's possible. So we are learning from this, and then we can train like the new models, the new AI models that will develop and invent the new drugs. But this is really how we feed the future of drug discovery with new starting points, innovative starting points, chemistry that's completely new.
All right. It's incredible the future we're looking into. Let me ask you, you've just raised 20 million euros. What does this enable you? Who backed you? Who are the people that someone like you are talking to?
Sure, we were backed with tech generalist investors, Alven and Daphne, for this round. And this allows us really, obviously, to scale. But what does that mean? We're really growing this data set. So we're already discovering more of these novel natural chemistry than anybody in the world, like 4 times more than the rest of the world combined last year. But we're scaling that 10x, in the coming years. And that means also developing a pipeline of really drug discovery partnerships. So we're already working with pharma, with agrochemistry companies, with animal health companies on development programs, but we want really to bring that to the next level.
Yeah.
And so this would be possible by obviously growing the team that we have. We're about 25 people now based in Paris, and doubling that in the next 2 years. And this allows us to build really the reference data set of natural chemistry that should be, and we hope it becomes the starting point registry for every discovery or drug development program in agrochem, in pharma, in animal health in the coming like 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. Tell me, you have helped build Hello Tomorrow. It's a very different thing you're doing now. Tell me a bit about the team that you've built around you to be able to do what you're doing with Generare.
Completely, and I think the team is extremely interdisciplinary, and I think that's one of the strength and one of the moats of the company is the ability to master a lot of different sciences: microbiology, molecular biology, synthetic biology, chemistry, obviously computational biology, and bringing all these sciences together brings quite some craft and some experience. And I think this is also what I learned working at Hello Tomorrow, seeing all these different deep tech companies in many different fields and helping them also. This allowed me to learn how to work with scientists in many different fields and make them work together. And I think that what makes us, what will define our success is the ability to execute. Like our process, our technology works today. It finds a lot of new molecules every day, but it's really an execution matter. The data is there, the nature has written it. It's the ability to read it extremely fast and operationally like deliver that will make our success real.
I want to ask you a question about your business model, because you're not building drugs, you're building a data set.
Yeah.
Some might call it you're not building single assets, but you're building a platform that will then have multiple assets that you'll own. Am I right in saying that that's a bit the modality that you can think of these types of companies, the single asset ones that are developing one drug or a set of drugs within one space, or you're building something that will allow others to build drugs on top of them? Typically, you won't be developing them yourselves, but rather you'll
I think we
Am I
want
right?
to, yeah, you're completely right. We want to build a model that really makes the most of this really powerful technology that we have that allows to discover new starting points really efficiently and at scale. And that means we believe we should be an horizontal integrator and be able to deliver this chemistry to people that will then develop them into drugs, into novel natural herbicides, into novel anti-parasitic agents. So that means really being the foundation and being the best at what we do in all those different markets, and building like co-development partnerships and licensing our assets relatively early, but still late enough so we can capture a lot of that value. But really mastering our craft and also letting the ones that are really good at bringing those drugs to market develop them into products.
Can you talk a bit about partnering with the pharma industry to do exactly that? Because this is a new model a bit of building platforms, and it's one that oftentimes you see traditional pharma venture investors not liking that much because it's not how they're used to thinking. And then you see the generalist VCs, which I imagine you're the perfect case of, loving it because they're like, this fits perfectly. It's exactly like Facebook. It's just for, for drug development.
I think, yeah, you presented exactly the right way. It's exactly that. And I mean, this is the reason we've raised with generalist VCs, because I think they understand that thesis and they believe in it. I also understand the point of view and the thesis of traditional biotech investors and why they want to bet on single assets. We think, like every founder that has built a platform company before, that we are the ones that have the right models to make it work, obviously.
Yeah.
And this is because I think what's really important with us, why we get a lot of inspiration from traditional tech companies, is we are extremely efficient in the way that we discover these molecules. The fact that we are obsessed by the fact that it should be really, really cheap to find one novel compound. If we want then to valorize this compound, we need to be extremely efficient. We cannot spend like 10 millions per new molecules. And this will allow, what will allow us really to have this platform model is this extreme executional efficiency and capital efficiency.
That it's funny when I think back to the announcement episodes we've done over the past. Oh my God, there's been a lot in this space at different points of the journey, and I was waiting for the investment to come that would be around building the platform, because it's been a while since I've seen them, so I'm really excited about it. I'd love to ask you about building partnerships with the biotech investors or the pharma industry. What have you learned from doing that? Where are you seeing that we really need to learn a craft, so to say, of knowing how to engage with this industry?
I think the really good learning I got from my past experiences is to, and maybe it's counterintuitive, it's really meet your clients very early. When we had nothing with Vincent, I remember in the early days of 2023, sorry, we're not that old. We started from the very beginning. We didn't have a lab yet. We went to see pharma and we asked them, what do you want to see? You know, what is the data you want to see? What is the field where we need to invest more? And obviously you can find that data online, but the sooner you can engage with these people, the better that they will recommend you. And there is actually a very an investor that I admire quite a lot from Dimension Capital in the US that said this in a conference I went to some time ago, that says these early partnerships is like a CSO that pays you. You have this, and it's exactly that. We were lucky to be able to partner with a young pharma company and to have the immense knowledge and experience in drug development from the beginning, and this allows us to go in the right direction. You know, it's like building a product in tech. Like you once you have the prototype, you go to the client. You know, you don't wait to have the perfect product. Yeah. And I think it's not been the case. I think a lot in biotech, where you want to have the right asset, the right data package, and I think it's this is what I learned, and I think I would recommend, and I try to do more every day.
Yeah, I can imagine. I want to ask you a final thing here before we close, and that is, what's your long-term vision and mission over the next 5 to 10 years? Where are we as an industry if everything you're dreaming of comes to be?
It's really reopening that field. I think that's what Vincent pitched me the first day. He told me about this company we wanted to build, and it's still the case today. It's a field that saved billions of lives, that led to 3, 4 Nobel Prizes in the 20th century, and that has completely vanished from our minds. It's still there, but so the ability to reopen it, discover the next 10,000 molecules from nature, and put them in the hands of pharma companies, of agrochemistry companies, to like develop a replacement for synthetic herbicides, or I mean, this is the goal, and this is reopening something that has been lost. That's the dream.
And oh my God, do our healthcare sector need it. I'm so thankful we have people like you. So thanks for joining me, Guillaume. And to anyone who's been tuning in today and who's excited about building and finding a new source of molecular data for drug discovery, this is the 97% of molecular diversity that we barely have started to unearth. And it's going to open new horizons for pharmaceutical companies. If you're up for that type of challenge, if you're excited about this type of thing, do reach out to Guillaume and the team. I'm sure they would love to work with you. Thank you, everyone. Guillaume, thank you again.
Thank you very much, Andreas.